But now that also puts us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter,
Grindr, all of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grindr had a bunch of weird stipulations we had to check to get on that one.
Well, when you've been an active member for so long like you have, it makes it easier.
Yeah. We had the follower count. Just waiting on Bert. I tried to ask Delaney if Bert's coming.
Yeah, he was sick earlier this week. But I say we hit the music, get started.
Oh, I forgot to talk to you about on the pre-show. I wasn't sure if we wanted to do a little today on the show and bring that back since our music's so short. We got lots of feedback that everyone likes the new music.
Yeah. Well, because if you listen to the podcast, did you get the whole intro song? Like the intro that they see on Facebook? Was it the same on a podcast?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because it's cool if you have I think the intro video is cool on video, but it's just the music isn't as cool.
Yeah, so I focused on audio stuff this week, and
but really, those knuckleheads who complained should just watch
the video,
Facebook, and watch it live.
Right. So we don't have video intros and stuff yet, but all that'll come back. You ready to get started?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Section 336, Matt, Josh, and Bert are at the games, hidden behind home plate. Let's go O's! Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336. I am your endearing starting host, Matt Sroka. And as always, I'm joined by a guy who turned down an offer to be a commentator for the AAF League to continue to do this podcast for free, the button lover, Josh Sroka.
Yeah, I could have done the AAF, except I would have had to know when those games are on TV.
Yeah.
I think they're on Saturdays, but then I saw people tweeting about it today too, so I don't know.
Yeah, a lot. I didn't realize the games were on until people started tweeting about the AF. So good for them. We're also joined in studio today by Ryan Blake. Ryan, welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back. It's been a little bit, but I'm thrilled to be on.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. The guy with the best Twitter account in Birdland.
It's debatable, but I'll take the compliment.
Yeah,
well, not your personal one. We're just going with the OO's fans problems. We'll praise you on that one.
Yeah,
sounds good to me.
The other one just like eats crowns and stuff.
Yeah, I got another one coming too. I haven't posted it yet, but Chris Davis is the reason I bit the bullet this time. Hey, Bert.
All right. Hey, we delayed your intro of Bert long enough.
yeah.
7:30 hard start, huh?
Well, we don't mess around in this place. 7:33.
What's up, Rag Guy Blake?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Doing good, man.
It was the countdown was going on for 20 minutes, and once that hits the buzzer, the buzzer, boom goes the dynamite.
That countdown on Facebook started 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
It's like whatever time I typed it in, and then it just.
We had a line of listeners for 6 hours just waiting.
Just for me?
Yeah, just for you.
Oh, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
Hashtag blessed.
Romeo was first in line with his feather hat.
I went to the eye doctor on Friday. First time in 3 years.
The optometrist? Something like that? What's an eye doctor's name?
Optometrist.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. Anyway, first time, but I want to get new glasses because my glasses are broke.
Is there a microphone under this table? Like, it's crazy how loud this cough drop wrapper is.
That's Bert, you missed the intro of the new crotch mic that we've been added to the studio.
I like that. I think that's great. It hopefully will be better than my vocal mic, which craps out every time I make a great joke. Like the Chris Davis quote about his improving his hitting this year sounds like a silent fart in a crowded room. And nobody got the joke on the podcast because my microphone crapped out. So I'm not making any good jokes anymore. I see it's crapping out already.
That's why I make my jokes on Twitter.
Hold on, your mic isn't crapping out, and I thought before it was only crapping out like in our ears, but it was still recording your bad jokes.
I listened back to the podcast, something I don't do often.
Just for the podcast, just you wanted to hear your joke?
Well, because I heard it crap out live when I made it, and I wanted to confirm that it crapped out on the iTunes feed or whatever it is, and I am not happy.
All right, I've been working on our audio, so hopefully your mic's going to be better.
All right, but if I make a good joke and it craps out mid-joke, I'm walking out.
Okay, fine. I think Josh might have been doing it on purpose. He doesn't want you to steal his thunder. He thinks he's the joke guy now, and so I think maybe Josh over there is doing it on purpose.
You're gonna have to bear with my cough. I have been so sick.
You need to get this guy a cough button.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
My crotch mic keeps picking it up.
Are you gonna do that the whole show? Cough?
If it becomes a problem, I'll leave.
Okay. If it becomes a problem, I will ask you to leave. You better believe it.
I'll hide it in a laugh. I'll go like a.
All right, we got a lot to get to. A lot of baseball talk and Orioles talk.
It's been a busy week.
But real quick, the eye doctor.
Oh yeah, back to this.
All
All
Sorry.
right, it's you are the eye doctor. For me, it's a very stressful experience. Not just because they blow the air into the eye. Like, that's stressful itself. You know, when they shoot the air into the eyeball. Like, I almost will not go just for that part, just because I know that happens.
Okay.
But the most stressful part is, and the whole thing's stupid. You go in there, you look at a chart, but I needed new glasses, so I wanted to update my prescription so I could buy new glasses.
Right.
But you guys know, and so I went through it. I did the whole thing. It took like 20 minutes, and then at the end, there's that attractive lady there who says, "Do you want to purchase some of our glasses?"
Yeah.
And of course, my answer is no,
Right.
because it's twice as much. Right. I like to go to Warby Parker, get my 5 glasses, try them on, take my time. Trying them on there, it costs too much, and it's too stressful because you got to pick one right there. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just say no, and then
Well,
the story's over.
I know, but here's the stressful part for me, right? Because I say no, and that part's fine. But then after that, you know how I hate getting stuff for free. Like, I'm uncomfortable with the whole free process. Like, even when I get the free Dunkin' Donuts coffee, like, I feel like I have to get a donut just because I feel guilty just taking a free coffee.
Josh feels bad getting it because Joe Flacco didn't earn it for him.
Hey, I got free Dunkin' Donuts this week because some lady in the drive-thru ahead of me paid for my meal.
Oh, that's nice. Did
Yeah.
you pay for the next person? That's
I
what
did
you
not.
do.
I was
You're supposed to
stunned.
pay it
What?
forward.
What?
I did pay.
That
it
was
forward.
probably going on all morning, and you put an end to it.
You got paid forward.
I might have ended it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, good for you. But anyway, but what I need from them is the prescription for my glasses, which they won't give you unless you specifically ask for it.
You got it. Yes.
What are they, like, super protective of it?
Yes, and so, but when I go there, it's covered by insurance, so I pay nothing, right? Because I can get one check a year or whatever, so I pay
Right.
nothing.
Right.
But as I'm leaving,
It wasn't free. Your insurance paid
Right.
$700 for
but
you to do that.
But I hope not, because he just had me look at a stupid board and say if I can see the knee, which, by the way, is also really stressful because he switches them back and forth, and my eyes get kind of blurry, and I don't know which one's better. I don't know. They both look like goodies, and that part's stressful itself. But anyway, I hate asking for the prescription because I feel like there's this understanding that I'm going to leave this store and go to Warby Parker
yeah.
and buy my glasses. And I feel like they know it, I know it, and so when I say it, like, I just have to mumble it. Excuse me, can I have my prescription? Like, real quiet.
Because you're doing what everyone else in the world does.
And if they ever ask, I'm so horrified that they're gonna say why. And then if they ever say why, I will literally sprint out the store, run away, and just never get my prescription.
You know what I did when I needed glasses
Yeah.
from Warby Parker?
Yeah.
I took Mandy's prescription. I sent that one in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But now they're a little off, so I got to go to the eye doctor.
But I saw on the Warby Parker email that you can do the eye prescription thing just on their website.
Yeah, they've got some type of app that you
Yeah.
can do it.
Which kind of makes sense because you just look at the board and see if you can see an E or not.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just find the whole process stressful. But I got my prescription, and I also, you know what I did to kind of make it sound cool? I asked for the original prescription and my updated one just so I can compare for my own kind of notes.
So you made them do double the work?
Yeah, just so I would have a cover story.
All right.
Gets you out of it though.
Ryan, do you wear glasses or contacts?
I have a pair of glasses. I only really need them when I'm driving at night in the rain. There's a lot of conditions there, but
That's what happened
I mean,
to me.
I have decent enough vision. I don't really rely on them.
I have nothing to do with this story. I have perfect vision.
Do you think you're better than me?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Just in that department. You're better than me in the height department.
Josh is Josh. I thought you got laser eye surgery.
I
And you're
did.
still wearing glasses.
I know.
What sense does that make?
I got it 8 years ago, and it needs to be tweaked.
Yeah.
So I noticed that I need glasses it started with I need glasses driving in the rain, and then and now it's a little more where I'm wearing these almost all the time. Now I'm doing it so I can read the computers behind you.
If I ever need glasses, I'm going to kill myself.
But we did.
That's a joke. That's a
we did
joke.
have the
And the
discussion-
microphone held up for it, so
Right.
so far so good.
We did have the discussion this week that I got to go. I've got free LASIK adjustments for life. I just got to go do it.
Go do it.
I know. I just got to
What, wasn't it? I think I read this. Maybe you guys can confirm to turn the glass talk into Orioles talk.
Sure.
Wasn't Richie Martin, our Rule 5 guy, had a really good year in the minors last year? His first kind of breakout offensive season in the minors. And I thought I read somewhere that Richie Martin last year got glasses.
No,
and that's why he had such
no.
a better offensive year.
That was Ricky Vaughn.
No, get out of here. You guys heard that story of Richie Martin? That's why he had a good offensive year last year because he got glasses?
No.
Maybe I'm making that up.
I mean, it makes sense.
Maybe I should be paying attention.
Glasses will help you see the ball.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, right? Maybe
Wasn't there? I thought
updated prescription for
I
Chris
thought there
Davis?
was something with Kevin Gaussman and glasses a few years ago.
Yeah, we were supposed to help him out. Didn't really seem to do too much.
Right.
He got like the X-ray specs or whatever they
Yeah.
were,
Yeah.
Chris Sabo style.
But well, it's finally here. Pitchers and catchers report on Wednesday.
I did Richie Martin glasses. I'm getting a whole bunch of pics of Ricky Martin. Oh, man.
And that's
All
the
right.
problem. Is you're going to get a lot of living La Vida.
Where's the problem?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a few minutes here, guys, and search for some pics. You guys do the show.
Okay. You looking at you looking at Ricky Martin picks? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Or went down a whole new rabbit hole.
I'll do the elevator music.
All right.
Stupid.
Right.
Oh goodness.
All right, can we get into some show talk here?
Yeah, sure.
Some birds.
Pitchers and catchers. I saw the Athletics are the first team to have pitchers and catchers report, which I think is tomorrow.
When is that? Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Where-
So good
Buy
for
their
them.
World Series tickets.
The Orioles are on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I
Are you guys excited?
this-
You guys pumped?
Oh yeah.
Hope springs eternal, right? Or has this offseason and the lack of moves and kind of knowing what's ahead kind of got you down even before the season started?
I don't think you'll find anybody who doesn't get at least a little excited when they start seeing the pictures and the sunny weather. That's exciting, but it gets old real quick also. Like by Wednesday afternoon, I'll be tired of seeing it.
yeah, you know what? It's kind of like the groundhog. Everyone says, "Oh, well, the groundhog gets me excited for spring." No one cares about the groundhog in the shadow. It's when pitchers and catchers report, spring's right around the corner.
Yeah.
I woke up on Groundhog's Day at Dewey Beach, flipped on the TV, saw the story. Oh, hey, it's Groundhog's Day. And then it's immediately out of my mind. It doesn't matter.
I didn't even know Groundhog Day already happened until just.
Yeah. See?
February 2nd.
Ryan has bigger problems.
You could say that.
He's got Orioles fan probs.
I do.
I mean, but it is exciting because now we've been speculating for 6 months about what this team's going to be like, and now we actually get to start seeing people throw the ball and start to see kind of build what this rotation could be like. And we don't have World Series expectations, but we see the beginning of a long process starts on Wednesday.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, obviously we kind of know what's going to happen this year. It's not going to be much of an improvement from last year, if any. It might even be worse. But we're at that point where I'm encouraged by, I went to FanFest and I sat there for Mike Elias and Brandon Hyde and Sig Mejdal and Kobe Perez. And I'm encouraged by what all of them said. They weren't spewing the same things that Dan Duquette would tell us in terms of, what we want to hear.
Bert's got his audio on
Sorry.
his computer again, throwing everything off.
No worries. But, I feel like when Duquette was in charge, it was kind of the same story every year. We're trying to compete. We're trying to, put a good team on the field and try to compete for a wild card spot, make it to the playoffs, whatever. Now we understand that we're behind the curve. We need to catch up to the rest of baseball before we try to get ahead. And that's what's really encouraging to me is that they understand the position that we're in now and that it's going to be a process before we're competing.
Yeah, and there's and we'll get in more to it as we get closer to the season. But there's a lot of, I think, players to be excited about and players to watch to see how they perform this year, both in the pitching and offensively. A lot of players that maybe you haven't heard of before that would be interesting, right? Because Mike Elias has been clear that there are going to be some players on this team right now that are going to be part of the future.
Mhm.
I don't know if we know who those players are quite yet. But I think we're going to find out pretty quick. And I'm also really excited to see not just about Mike Elias bringing in players, but what he can do with the players that are already here as far as their development, right? As he introduces more of the sabermetric side of things, him and Sig Mejdal, how that'll affect a guy like Dylan Bundy, right? Could this might be the year that he takes a step with more information and data? So I think there's a lot of things to be excited about, even if you know going in that you'll probably finish last in the AL East. I think there's still some things to be excited about.
It's chances to see, is Dylan Bundy gonna take that step? Can he lead this rotation into that future? And then it's guys like Cedric Mullins and seeing if he can really be our everyday center fielder.
Yeah, all these outfielders, right? DJ Stewart,
Sure.
Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins. Like the jury's still out on a lot of these guys. So it's going to be fun to watch them play.
I think this excitement for the Orioles' future can be compared to baking a really good cake, and it's going to take a really long time to bake this cake. But like when they hire Mike Elias, when they hire Brendan Hyde, that's like finding the recipe for the cake. And now Wednesday, when spring training starts, you're laying out all the pieces, ingredients, spatulas, pots, and pans. You're laying it all out and seeing everything you have, and then you start baking the cake. And it might take 4 or 5 years to build this cake, but once it's finished baking, it's going to be delicious.
What kind of cake are we baking, Bert?
Championship cake. A World Series cake.
I like that you've gone away from pies. We're now a cake team.
It's a cake. Cakes take longer than pies.
Just don't tell Mark Trumbo that this whole thing's a cake.
Yeah, I
He'll
should have
be
went with
offended.
pies.
He'll
Man,
be
Ryan.
offended.
Me and Ryan should have shown. Ryan can be my writer now for my stupid jokes. Are obviously the mic is working now, so my jokes are not working. Ryan will be my writer from now on.
Well, you're 1 for 2 so far. Not bad.
1 for 2, I'll take it. Spring training's where we first met Ryan when he was a young lad.
Yeah,
that
we
true?
Interviewed
Trip Norton.
Trip Norton. That's it.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
It had to be at least 6 years ago.
Right.
4 or
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
And good for Tripp, still with the organization. That man's a survivor.
Yeah. He's
A
one
lot
of
of
the
people
few.
gone. He survived. Melancholy note here. Everyone's heard about it at this point, but the passing of Frank Robinson. We're going to dedicate more time in the show to Frank Robinson. We're going to actually have a separate show. We're going to get our dad in here. I feel a little bit inadequate talking about
Right.
Frank Robinson. I mean, my biggest memory of him is on the opening of the 1989 Why Not video. He's the manager and he gives kind of the opening speech to the players about
Sure.
Well, and
hustling
that's-
and fundamentals.
and that's
But
where-
we didn't get the chance to watch him play.
Right, we didn't. And I pulled up a highlight of him playing. I can play in a second but what really stood out to me is the highlight is when we'll talk about the Joe Angel news because the announcer on this is not what we're used to. But I'll play that with Frank Robinson. But what stood out to me, is I know Frank Robinson as the manager and as the manager who turned the team around. And it makes me think a lot of Brendan Hyde and this team and Mike Elias. We think of Frank Robinson as he brought that winning way back to Baltimore. So,
Yeah.
and I mean, as a player, he kind of started that winning way back in the 60s. And it's amazing that he only played for 6 years with the Orioles, but made such an impact that he's an Oriole in the Hall of Fame.
Obviously, it took them. Everyone says it took them from a good team prior to '66 to the great team that they were after '66, winning the pennants, winning the World Series. He was that it factor.
Yeah, and there's a lot of I've read a lot of articles about Frank Robinson. There's a lot of good stuff written out there from him. This is one of those cases where I went back to newspapers, and by newspapers I mean newspaper websites like WashingtonPost.com and BaltimoreSun.com to read what kind of because that's where you'll find the old baseball writers who actually played with or not played with him, but
Covered him.
were covering him when he was playing. Whereas some of the young bloggers, no offense to them, but I'm not going to read your stuff about Frank Robinson because you didn't watch him play. And that 66 season is really unbelievable, right? Because in 65, the Reds, the guy in the Reds, DeWitt, right? The general manager said, "Hey, you know what? You're kind of washed up, Frank. You're on the downcline.
An old 30.
Yeah, you're an old 30. You're past your prime. We're moving on from you." And we gave up hardly anything to get him, right?
Well, we gave up a pretty good pitcher. The pitcher we traded ended up winning a bunch of games too.
All right, fine. But I think in the long run, I think we got the better
We did.
of the
Of course,
deal.
of
All right.
course.
And Frank Robinson, the year he came, right, 66, after he's being called old and washed up, opening day hits a home run, goes on to win the Triple Crown that year, wins the MVP, leads the Orioles to the World Series, becomes a World Series MVP in 66. And the rest is kind of history. But I mean, what?
Right.
That's
He's
like the
still-
most amazing year after you're called out as being kind of washed up
Isn't
and
he
past your prime.
still the only player to win MVP in both leagues?
Yes.
Okay.
And the first African American manager in both leagues, of course.
Yes.
So he's like a larger than life figure, right? He's one of those iconic names. I think he was number 4 on the home run list when he retired, and kind of pre-steroid era. We're gonna get our dad on, who actually watched him play at some point, and do another episode
this weekend. So we'll get him in a couple weeks.
And if you've been listening to Section 336 as far back as August 2015, you will remember when we did our show live at Club 66 in Harford County, and my uncle came on as a guest and told us a story about how he saw Frank Robinson naked once. I should have had that audio pulled.
I forgot about that story.
Can we pull that for our special Frank Robinson episode?
Yeah, we'll have to pull that audio.
Here is Frank Robinson hitting a home run in Game 1 of the 1971 World Series.
Pitcher, and making the newspapers and radio. There's a high drive into deep left, way up. That one is going, and it is gone. A home run for Frank Robinson.
Can you just hear the excitement of the World Series?
During 6 years with the Orioles, he led the Orioles to the World Series 4 times, and we won it twice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, we appreciate, like, the guy, people our age can appreciate how amazing that is, because we haven't even seen one, right?
Exactly.
What's the closest comparison recently where a team picked up one player who made that big of an impact for the franchise?
Oh yeah, that's a great question.
Dare I say Jake Arrieta?
Yeah, I mean the Cubs they've been to the postseason more than once since Arrieta came around. They got the World Series, so it could remain to be seen.
Yeah, I guess it's similar pitcher wise. I guess you could argue like a Justin Verlander too.
Right.
I was trying to think of position players like that.
Well, it'd be
free agent signing's one thing. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know a pickup
That's a good
like
question.
that.
Of course, there wasn't free agency in '66, right?
Right, it was a trade.
It
yeah,
was a trade. Right. Well, that was supposed to be Scope to Milwaukee. Didn't work out. Or Machado to L.A.
And I know we're saving a lot of this for more Frank Robinson talk later, but thoughts real quick on how the team honors him. Do you see like a uniform patch or something like that?
Oh,
I think a lot of teams are going to do that.
Do a uniform patch.
You'll see the Indians do it, probably the Cincinnati Reds, obviously.
Because the Orioles have done patches for other former players that are not Hall of Famers.
Sure.
So
Elrod Hendricks.
Right.
They absolutely should.
So they'll definitely do a patch.
What do you think, instead of doing just a number 20, if they did the here flag? I've seen a little bit of that going
I
around.
think that'd be great. I love the
cool.
here flag. We didn't even mention that type of feat of hitting the ball out of Memorial Stadium.
Yeah.
I was looking this week online about trying to get a here flag for the studio.
Oh, that would be cool.
And I'm sure Dad will claim to be at that game like he claims to be at every significant game.
I'm glad you brought that up. I believe that's an epidemic amongst older gentlemen, because I was at a basketball game this weekend for my daughter, sitting next to an older guy. I had an Orioles cap on. We were talking about Frank Robinson, and I said, my father-in-law was actually at the game where he hit the ball out of Memorial Stadium. He goes, oh, I was there too.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess you all were there.
Right, of course.
There's like 150,000 people there.
Yeah.
Cal broke the record.
Right. Bert, were you at 2131?
Oh, yeah.
Right, exactly.
In my heart.
At this point, we were all there.
I was there in my dad's backpack. I was a year and a half.
Were you for real?
No.
Oh.
Right. I'll remember watching it on TV, but I'll also, for now on, remember being at the game.
I took my son when he was 8 months old to the Delman Young game, the divisional playoff there, and that's not a lie. And I will continue to tell him because that might be the greatest Oriole thing I ever lived and breathed to see.
This is a true story, though. My dad has a home video of me. I misspoke. I was 8 months old. I wasn't a year and a half when Cal broke the record. But he does have a video of me at 8 months laying on the living room floor in a diaper watching Cal circle the stadium.
Nice.
I've yet to see it personally, but he says he has it somewhere, so I need to dig it up at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope that Albie's like not a 40-year-old man saying, yeah, well, I was at the Delman Young double game. There better be something better in Orioles by then.
That's like us still obsessing about the why not team.
Yeah, and we will.
At least the Delman Young game was a playoff game.
And real quick, actually, our dad is listening to the podcast, and he chimed in on Facebook, because you can watch us live on Facebook every Monday night, except for tonight, where you can watch us on Sunday night. But he said, "Oh my goodness, I was there." As far as
yes, he was.
and I was joking because he shared that story before. You guys remember the pitcher?
Yes.
Who's the pitcher?
Louis Tiant.
Louis Tiant. Yeah, he would share the story. Louis Tiant is.
I'll never forget it. I was there.
Yeah, I was there too, actually. Louis Tiant, doubleheader. Hit it out of stadium. So yeah, Dad, I remember you telling that story.
Right.
Just because you tell the story more than once, it doesn't make it true.
And on Twitter, I think the infamous Sex Smith commented to us that the FanFest joke didn't age well. Where the
Oh yeah.
help me out here. Am I?
No, you're right. You're right.
No, I'll just. You guys just stare at me like I'm.
No,
I forgot for a second. All right.
No, I feel for the guy who asked the question at FanFest.
I feel like he must have had some inside knowledge then.
Yeah.
The opening fan question was about the whereabouts of Frank Robinson.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no one. And
Nothing
no one
about the
had an
current
answer.
team, but where's 83-year-old Frank Robinson,
Right,
and why
yeah.
isn't he doing more to support this organization?
And you, really in bad taste, made jokes about it.
Oh, I didn't know he was dying. Sorry.
Of course you didn't. Of course.
I'll just stop making jokes about everyone because everyone is dying actually,
Well, they could.
just slowly,
Well,
like
know-
this team is rebuilding and
You know
baking
who-
a cake.
You know who's not dying?
Who's that?
Zach Britton with an H.
Yeah, he's hot now. Hot fire, Zach.
You see this news that Zach Britton with an H has been wrong the whole time?
Yeah.
That's not how you spell his name.
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah. So I saw he switched it. So now he wants
So-
to go by ZACK.
Yeah. So
Is that like Zach
Again,
Morris?
Right. Apparently,
get-
that's his given name.
And I'm in this whole thing. I'm disappointed in the Baltimore beat reporters that they never caught on to this, because Ken Rosenthal shared that all of Zach Britton's contracts have him with a K.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that everything he signed, all his contracts, all his official stuff is with a K, and the reason he's now making this official and get rid of the H is because he's in New York. He wants to do sponsors and be in commercials and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why he's going with his original name.
Yeah.
Speaking of beat writers, did you see Rock's tweet? He's going to go by ROCK now.
Yeah.
Rock Kabako. That was a good one. But no,
I like
this is. I mean, Zach changing his name. It's bigger news than when we found out Fausto Carmona was really Roberto Hernandez.
No, I disagree. I don't think it's a huge deal. He signed with the Yankees.
it's just weird.
He's dead to me.
I
He's
know,
dead
like-
to me because he's with the Yankees.
I do like the timing that we can keep our Zach Britton and they can have the Zach with a K.
Yeah. And by the way, according to my Google Doc, I get the red squiggly line under ZACK. So they don't see that as the correct spelling of the name. So that's
I don't think your spell check does names.
sure. ZACH isn't underlined.
All right, I don't know.
I don't want to offend anybody who listens to this show named Zach,
Well, it's
but
you've already offended people who.
it's common knowledge the top 3 spellings of the name Zach. Number 1, obviously ZACK. Zach Britton got it right. That's the right way to spell it.
that's
It's
not
the
number
coolest way
one.
to
That's
spell
not
it.
the number. That's not the most popular. But
And
whatever.
and
Go
think
ahead.
that
I
H
go
is
on.
cool
ZACH
that way.
is the most popular, but whatever.
opposite. It might be the most popular, but it's
Yes.
not the coolest. The second coolest
Okay,
is just
cooler.
ZAC. ZAC. Zach.
No, that's not even a real way. to spell
ZACH.
Wasn't that the dude who did like Ghost Adventures on some TV show?
I'm sure it sounds like something a
ZAC.
cool guy named Zach, just ZAC would
It
do.
matched his hair. His hair was super cool.
You would
Yeah.
do ZAC over ZAK?
No.
Oh, well, that is how Zach.
ZAC's in the middle.
So ZAC is Zach Efron.
Perfect
Oh, yeah.
example. Perfect example. Thank you.
Well, on Britain's Wikipedia page, first of all, they're quick because they already changed his name to ZACK. But on his Wikipedia page, it says his full name is Zachary Grant Britton, spelled ZACKARY.
Oh, well, that's just
So when
messed
it's-
up.
When it's Zachary, you
Oh,
with an H.
yes.
Right.
So now he's wrong actually.
I mean, if Wikipedia is as accurate as it always is,
Yeah, I mean if your name's Zachary and you
Yeah.
shorten it, unless you spell your name Zachary with a K.
Well, that's what he is.
That's what I'm saying. It's spelled
That's
ZACKARY.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's
As Bert said, if Wikipedia is as accurate as
Yeah.
it tends to be.
well, that's a different way to spell Zachary.
Yeah.
And it says known professionally as Zach Britton, ZACH.
But it's so weird because it's not like he went 2-3 years with this. He was in the Orioles organization for like 20 years.
Yeah.
He's an old guy.
Yeah. I mean, and you would think. I mean, it was up to him, right? At some point, he could have said, "Hey, guys,
I mean,
let's
it's-
get my name right."
Right. It's like if Cal
Isn't it a little bit weird that he didn't say anything?
says, "Actually, I'm Cal with a K."
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird that he never said anything.
I-
I want to know, how did he sign his balls?
Sounds like a personal problem.
Or all right, how did he sign his cards? Like, if you got a Zach Britton signature, or did he just do Z Britton?
Yeah, I'm sure we can look up Zach Britton's signature.
I mean,
That's what the
I'm
Bible
still with
says.
Matt on this, though. This is more of a Yankees problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
As someone with a
An
few
Oriole would
Zach
never-
Britton signatures, it definitely looks more like an H. But it's, I mean, when you're cursive scribbling it,
All right.
H and K looks.
So either way,
Let's get a handwriting
he's
analyst
been-
in here.
Either way, he's been helping promote the lie.
Yeah, he could have corrected it at any point.
Yep.
I don't know what his game is.
Yeah, but he's dead to me too. Same
Yeah,
with
he's dead
Mike
to me.
Messina's
All right,
dead to
He's
me
dead
too.
Yeah, they're all dead to me.
All right, so what
Pick a
matter-
hat.
What matters to Oriole fans then?
Pacoda
Uh,
projections.
Pagoda? Is that where you want to go?
I don't
Yeah.
know. Do we?
Yeah, let's talk about Pacoda projection. So they have us to win 57 games this year. So I don't know who over there is drinking the orange Kool-Aid, thinking that somehow we're going to be better than last year,
Right,
win
10
57 games.
10 more wins.
Pacoda always thinks Orioles are going to be awesome. Pacoda loves Orioles so much.
What? Don't they always put us in last?
Yeah, they always
Yeah, they
put us
always-
in
Okay,
last.
you're throwing me off.
Yeah.
Do you guys care about the Pacoda projections?
I didn't last year, but maybe I will this year.
Yeah.
It's something to talk about in January, February, but
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah, I was looking at some of the they have us they give the runs scored, how much they think runs scored,
Well,
and
And
they,
doesn't it all start with how are you going to project anything when we don't know the starting rotation? We don't know the outfielders. We don't know who's playing second base.
yeah.
Like, how do you project when you don't know players?
I mean, I think you have a good idea. You take guesses, right? I think VR is going to be a second baseman. You can take a good guess
All
at
right,
that.
who's going to be your shortstop?
Richie Martin.
They're
Or
guessing
Ricky
never.
Martin.
Yeah, they're guessing never keep Ricky Martin will be it. But I saw they have us giving up or scoring 672 runs, and they have us giving up 902 runs, which is by far the most in baseball. And I thought that sounds kind of high. And then I went and looked at last year that we gave up 892 runs.
So we're going
And
to
that
give
was-
up even more runs this year.
Yeah, and that was with Kevin Gossman and
Right.
Zach Britton for half a year and stuff. So actually, that kind of makes sense that we get
That
902
pitching will get
runs.
Worse, yeah.
Yeah, and the offense, I mean, that's about what we put up last year as well. So, yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. But then if you look at it, they kind of go player by player, and some of them are surprising. Like, do you know who's projected to hit the most home runs for us?
Mark Trumbo.
Mancini,
Mancini's second at 21 home runs projected.
Davis. Are they saying bounce back year?
No,
Say
no,
David,
no. They only have Chris Davis at 20 home runs.
All right, then it's
DJ Stewart.
No,
I have no idea.
no. Renato Nunez. They have at 22 home runs. Which
Okay.
I'm not even
Let's give him
convinced
a
that he's
t-shirt,
going to
Mike.
be the starting third baseman.
Right.
But the other thing that was surprising was that the pitching ERAs. Every starter except for Dylan Bundy, they project to have an ERA of over 5. Like they project Alex Cobb to have an ERA of 5.21. That would be disappointing if Alex Cobb
Yes.
has an ERA of 5.21. I know I had a bad year last year. But then if you look at our 4 and 5 starters, you understand why we're going to give up so many runs. Because right now, the projected to be our 4 and 5 starters are David Hess and Josh Rogers.
Yeah, that's where all the runs are coming.
Yeah, they could have an ERA of 10. And Nate Carnes, they are projected as getting our best ERA from a starter, but they also don't have him pitching the whole year. I think some injury concerns
Do
there.
they have Cobb pitching the whole year? Because I think the hope for Oriole fans this year
Yeah,
is
they
that
do.
Cobb has a decent year that we can flip him in July.
Well, yeah, but not with a
Not with a
5.21
5
ERA.
yeah, sure.
And the other, just surprising, if you look at the bullpen, they really have bad projections for the bullpen. Or they think they're going to be really bad. Like Michael Givens at 4.58 ERA, that seems really high. The one that's shocking is projections has always done this with Richard Blyer. They really never liked Richard Blyer.
Okay.
Blyer, right, for the Yankees, he had a short stint with the Yankees where he pitched 23 innings and had an ERA of 1.96. Then, in 2017 with the Orioles was his big year. ERA of 1.99 over 63 innings, like a full season as a reliever. ERA of 1.99. Last year, before he got hurt, his ERA was 1.93. So every single year in the majors, the 3 years, he's had an ERA under 2. Do you know what Pacoda has him? His projected ERA?
No.
4.
5.32.
Good grief.
An
Well-
ERA over 5 for a
well-
guy his entire career has been under 2. Isn't that kind of crazy?
I don't know. Maybe they see it as the Orioles' defense is going to be so bad that
Well-
there's nothing that will not be helping pitchers.
Right. Like I think that's probably part of it. For all the numbers are inflated, probably because bad
Not to
pitching,
inflate
but-
it to 5.31 though.
Yeah, they have our best reliever ERA. If you're just looking at ERA, our best reliever they have as Tanner Scott, friend of the show.
They don't know anything about us.
Yeah. So,
They don't know anything. They picked them to win 70 games last year, and they were way off.
Yeah, so I think our bullpen will be better than Precota's projecting, but I think the starters, like David Hess and Josh Rogers, could be worse. We can talk about the Nate Carnes signing. That's kind of interesting to me, Nate Carnes. He's coming off a couple injuries.
I think it's a low risk kind of thing. I mean,
Sure.
He had a good year in 2015
with the Royals, right?
I think it was the Royals.
Yeah.
But I mean, he hasn't pitched since July of 2014 when he went down with some type of shoulder injury, and then he sat out all of last year with elbow inflammation, which is a terrible sign for someone who's still on the better side of 30. I mean, $800,000 I think is what we gave him. 200 more in incentives.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of incentive laden deals. Earn your money.
Yeah, man.
That's fine with me. If he sucks, we're not losing much there.
Yeah, and if he works out, best case scenario, you can also, because he's still under his arbitration years, you can still bring him back next year for really cheap.
Yeah.
So he's not like a guy that has to perform or you cut him or trade him. Like, no, you can keep him on to next year. He can part of next year's team too. And starters, like we saw that, like David Hess and Josh Rogers projected 4 and 5 by Pecota. Like that's a little bit scary.
And I think
because I don't think either of them are ready.
I think that's why a guy like Carnes signs with the Orioles is there's an opportunity to get into this rotation.
Yeah, and there could be another, I think, veteran pitcher, but Nate Carnes seems like the perfect fit.
Yeah.
That kind of low risk, decent reward type guy that you want if you're in the position like the Orioles.
A guy I saw a couple days ago, someone tweeted out an article or something. You guys remember Chris Heston? He was a rookie with the Giants a couple years ago. He took like a no-hitter into the 8th in one of his first career starts, and he pretty solid numbers. But he's a guy that I think the Orioles could consider looking at as a guy who could fill that rotation spot. But he's got his velocity up. He's been working, and I think he's still young. He's shown some flashes here and there. I mean, he's another guy who might be worth a shot.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So especially like I think position wise, I think you would have a hard time arguing that you should bring in a veteran to do a position. Like maybe Adam Jones you could convince me on, but outside of that, I would have a hard time because there are other players at those positions that you really don't want to block, right? Like I really want to see what Richie Martin can do and Jackson can do in those middle infield spots.
Yeah.
I really want to see what we got, like, I don't know, 6 third basemen now, right? I really want them to get an opportunity to see if any of those guys can stick. And we've talked a lot about, we have a plethora of outfielders in the minors, and you want to see what those guys can do. But pitching wise, like I really don't want to see what David Hess can do. I don't. Like I've seen what David Hess can do, and I don't want to see any more of it. So I think there's openings there in that pitching rotation. And then you have a lot of guys, like our best pitching prospects right now are in single A, right? Like the DL Halls and the Grayson Rodriguez. Like they are not ready this year or next year. They're still ways off. So I think there's an opening there for the next 2 years as you wait for those guys to get here.
I'm with you on that.
We all agree.
No. And there's also, like, I think there are some guys in the high minors that actually are really interesting as pitchers that I'm curious to see how they do. Like Dean Creamer, is it?
Great name.
Dylan Tate. I think that those are a couple of names to watch out for. Keegan Aiken was not mentioned in the prospectus as being a contributor to the Major League squad, but I think Keegan Aiken could be a guy that...
Aiken won the minor league Triple Crown last year at Double-A.
Yeah.
There you go.
The pitching Triple Crown, I mean.
Yeah. So he's and he's a lefty starter. So I think there are some names in the high minors that might be of interest to the Orioles, but I think they're gonna have to prove it at AAA before they get the old call up. All right.
Yeah, and I mean that's part of the excitement for this spring training and pitchers and catchers to see how those guys develop with this new pitching staff. It's all new. It's a whole new staff in the minor league system and the majors, and to see how they work and how they develop pitchers. If we see a focus on spin rate and stuff like that, is part of what we want to watch for with spring training.
Yeah, it's a little hard because like I like Dylan Tate and Creamer, and I think like Zach Pop is an intriguing guy that we got in the trade as far as the bullpen goes. But like none of them are like in anyone's top prospect rankings, right?
Yep.
Like there's no one in the high minors that people are really pitching wise, and the only hitter really is Ryan Mountcastle that people are excited about.
Well, I think that means all these other guys are projects. And
right.
when you're bringing in this new staff, maybe they can do something with these projects to make them click and turn them into those high prospects.
Right. You see, this is not in the show notes, but you see Keith Law ranked the Orioles dead last as far as farm system
Yes.
goes.
Yep.
Keith Law is an idiot. I can't stand that guy. And I heard him on 105.7. I think you guys heard the interview on 105.7.
No.
Like, all he kept on talking about is the ownership. Like, he hates
Right.
the
He
ownership
hates-
so much.
Well, and that's
And maybe
been that
with
way
good
for years,
reason.
yes.
Yeah, maybe with good reason. I'm sure he has his reasons. He has his connections to Baltimore. But he kept on blaming ownership. Yeah, we get it, Keith. You don't like the ownership. But
do you
no
think a professional guy like that who sees ownership and farm systems for just about every major league ball club comparatively and still ranks the Orioles lowest would just say it just because he's a grouch and doesn't like the ownership?
Yes.
He's
No,
being unprofessional?
Well, no, I don't think so. I think with everything, right? We all bring our own bias into things, right?
Of course.
Even if we don't realize we're being biased, right?
So they might not be dead last, but they're pretty darn close to last, and maybe his bias pushed him to the bottom.
I mean, I don't know if Fangraphs have released theirs yet, but I've read articles in Fangraphs saying that they would be projected around 20. So they're not a top 10 farm system, but I've never seen Keith Law is the only guy that I've seen put him near last or dead last.
Okay.
And I think, like, if I was asked to do this, I would probably rank the Orioles higher than I should because I would be pro-Orioles biased. Like, I think everyone has these bias that even if they're not aware of it, they kind of have, because you watch players over and over again and you like certain players more than others. Like, that's bias, right? That you
Sure.
prefer certain players over others. And he even mentioned, I heard him on I heard him on Buster Olney's thing, where he lives in New York or something.
Delaware.
Or
He lives in
Delaware.
he lives in Delaware.
Well, anyway.
What's his address?
I don't know his address.
I
but
just want to talk.
but I guess he lives by some organization that plays a whole bunch of games, and so he says he sees a lot more of that team, and so that might have skewed his rankings to like that
Sure.
team a little bit more, which is like understandable if you see a whole lot of a team.
Yeah, but any reporter who covered the Orioles during the 14 losing seasons and all of that time with Peter Angelos, during the real hatred of Peter Angelos, has a issue with Angelos.
Yes. Yeah,
So-
and like I said, with good reason probably.
Yeah, so I can totally get that it's hard to trust that anything good could come out of that organization.
Yeah. And like he didn't have, for example, like he didn't have Ryan Mountcastle as, I don't think he had him as a top 100 prospect, when most other people have him as a top 100 prospect. I know there's some issues with his defense, and that becomes kind of interesting, right? Like Vlad Guerrero, he didn't have as his number one prospect, even though everyone agrees Vlad Guerrero is the best hitter
Right.
in all the
defensively,
minors.
no.
But
Who's his
defensively,
number one? Did you know?
shortstop. I'm blanking on the name. It was a shortstop, and this whole argument was because the shortstop could influence the game more, and his base running was better, and all of that. He compared it to the Miguel Cabrera, Mike Trout fight they were having a couple years ago over the MVP, right? Like best hitter as opposed to all around player. Anyway,
Well, the best thing to come out of being ranked last or thought to be the bottom of the barrel in all of this is you just got to prove them wrong. Everyone likes a good underdog story. It could be why not 2019, like we've talked about 100 times already. 30 years later, Frank Robinson just died. Put that to rest. Now we need a new why not
put a
team.
patch on.
Right.
Put a patch on it.
Yeah. Well, the one thing we didn't talk about Frank Robinson is the Orioles' legacy. And remember, Frank Robinson is the player that Buck Showalter got upset because Josh Hart didn't know who Frank Robinson was and made him go
Big,
do a
go
book
and write
report on
an
Frank
essay on
Robinson.
him.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe Bert's right. Maybe this whole team of young guys can get behind the legacy of Frank Robinson and go have fun this year.
And get us almost to the playoffs.
All right.
Hey, sometimes the best seasons are the ones when you go in with no expectations.
I agree with that.
You play loose. Sometimes you play better when you play
Right.
loose like that.
You got nothing to lose. That's like in the NFL when it's getting close to the playoffs, end of the season, you play these garbage teams with nothing to lose, and then you see some upsets because they're going to throw some crazy stuff out there. You got nothing to lose. Why not?
Exactly. See, the Orioles run a Philly special out here this year.
What other thing about the Bakota projections?
Yep.
I know there's a lot of talk about tanking, but if you look at the projections, like the Orioles are projected to have the worst record in baseball.
Right. No need to tank.
Yeah, but if you look at like the NL Central is fascinating. They have 3 teams at 81 wins. all tied for 500. The last and the
But I
top
think-
team at 88 wins.
But I think that's a divisional effect where it shows you like a lot of those teams are very even in that division, where the Orioles
Right.
are getting a lot more losses because they're in a team with the Red Sox and the Yankees. They're
Yeah.
in the division, so they're gonna. I think that's kind of showing divisional bias and how your division affects your team.
Sure, and according to Bakota, the AL East is the only team that has more than in the
Division.
American League, the only division in the American League that has more than one team finishing above 500, and they have 3 teams in the AL East: the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Rays, all projected to finish above 500. And every other division in the American League just has one team projected to finish over 500. The other thing that's interesting is that the Nats, the Mets, Phillies, Braves, all within 4 games in the AL East according to projections, which like screams out, why isn't one of these teams
Grabbing Bryce.
trying really hard to grab Bryce Harper? Like this could be the guy because there's
Right.
such a small area separating every team in the NL East. You would just think that
Right, one of those
sign that
players
guy
is going to
could-
get you 4 wins.
yeah, it could push you over the top. So
yeah. If
it's
all you
kind
need
of
is 4
amazing.
wins, or a small number like that, just to push you over the top. Of course, everything I'm reading, the reason Bryce Harper's not getting signed because he's not that good.
Yeah,
Overhyped.
yeah, that's the narrative.
He
now.
was really only had one good season.
yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what people on Twitter tell me, and that's what I'm
Yeah, I don't
inclined to believe.
Yeah.
I say they don't. I wouldn't sign him just for the hairstyle.
If you want to change my opinion on something, just tweet it at me. It usually works.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm still not convinced that they're gonna. I still think they still could get big money.
I think it's very
We'll see.
interesting. I think they could. It's really strange that it's gone this long, and that there's not been like the latest rumor was Machado 7 years 220, and if that's the highest number we're hearing, then
Yeah, I don't
that's
believe it.
very surprising.
I think there's a
believe it.
couple teams pussyfooting around, and then once somebody makes a serious bet, then they're all going to start showing their real hands.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? They
Yeah.
just what did Bryce Harper just met with the Giants. I mean, because everyone hears these numbers too, and the Giants are like, "Whoa, what are you? You're talking about 200 million? We thought we were talking about 400 million, 200
Yeah.
million.
Yeah.
All right, we can talk now." And so I can't imagine they're really going to sign for 220. I think it's going to be a lot more than that, but we'll see. And the White Sox, according to Bakota, the White Sox really don't make sense for Manny. I mean, they have them projected to win 71 games.
Right.
So Manny will get him to 75 games or 76
Yeah,
games?
might as well come to the Orioles.
That's what I'm saying. I like the way Bert's
How about,
thinking
how about
here.
the Padres? Padres were in on that talk too.
Yeah, that's another example, right? A team projected to get 75 wins, right? Not a team, but then
Right.
San Diego, I think they have a different philosophy or something.
I'd be all in on Machado to the Padres.
Well,
They're,
yeah.
they're
I would
already
too.
a young and exciting team. They
Yeah.
got 10 of the top 100 prospects, I think. That's a team that already looks good on paper for years to come, and I think Manny would
And
make that organization a lot
And
of
it's
fun.
really far from Baltimore.
And they look good on the field. I think they're bringing back the throwback uniforms this year.
Oh, thank
The
God.
brown. Yeah.
Those are amazing.
Yeah, and they could topple out the Dodgers. I'm not a fan of the Dodgers, so that would be good too. I like to see them overtake the Dodgers.
Yep.
Down with these big market teams. Something that's keeping the big market teams in power though are the rules. Can we get to some of these rule changes?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So
First of all, before you read them, Josh, you can read the rules. I just want to go on record saying I love all of them.
I was.
I really do. But Josh, I can let you go over the rules and we can talk about ones you like or don't like.
No,
I'm just
I
going to go
was-
on record saying I love them all.
I was shocked because when I read them, I liked them all too.
Really?
I can get
Oh,
behind
that's
them all.
shocking.
All right, so let's start with the first one. Pitchers must face.
I changed my opinion now. I hate them
Right.
all.
Pitchers must face 3 batters. Of course, unless the inning ends or the pitcher gets hurt. But a pitcher must face 3 batters when they come in.
Right. But except
This
when the
is-
inning ends, I feel like it's a big except, right?
It's a big except.
If you go in with 2 outs, you get one guy out.
Right.
You can be done.
You did
Right.
your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you go in there and get the one big bat out. You're done. So
Yeah.
I like that one. I understand that, like, you don't even see that, like, that won't cause an issue, and I can see that being a lot of controversy for teams like the Yankees and all, but I have no issue with that. Do you guys?
I don't have an issue with it. I think it's pretty solid. Although the one thing that might upset me about it is it might take away some moments like Chris Davis hitting a homer off Boone Logan, and I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you do, remember that game, the Cal Statue Night.
Yeah.
They brought him in after Jones and Reynolds went deep. Boone Logan came in just for Davis, and Davis
For
hit
the one
first
batter.
pitch on the Utah Street.
Right.
Yeah.
It might take away some scenarios like that, but all in all, I mean, I think it's a solid.
That's to speed up the game.
Yeah, that's to speed up the game.
Why don't they just stop warming up from the pitcher's mound when you're bringing a guy from the bullpen. He's already been warming up in the bullpen. Bring him out and let's go. That would take away a whole commercial break and at least 10 minutes.
That's what I've been saying the whole time.
And it doesn't have to change the whole structure of the game.
If you-
but I think that
Maybe give him 5 throws.
I understand that.
How
I
about
think
0 throws?
well, because
He's had 12.5 from the bullpen
I get
already.
it, but once you come in the game, you want to find that pinpoint again, find what you're focused on. I can
Right, you gotta
understand
feel
that.
the rubber
These
a
guys are
little bit.
professional pitchers. How much hand-holding do they need?
All right. Well, speaking of pitchers, apparently the way you speed this game up is all about the pitchers.
Oh, hold up! I want to get one more thing on the 3 batters.
Yeah.
The only reason I don't like it, but I don't care anymore, is it would have ruined, as if it wasn't ruined enough, the career of my favorite Oriole, Brian Mattis. If they had this rule when Brian Mattis was his lefty specialist,
Just for Ortiz.
and Hamilton, that was the only reason he was there, and it would have ruined his career faster than his career was already ruined.
Yep.
But I also think it's kind of a non-story because I think even lefties nowadays, most pitchers pitch like an inning.
Yeah.
I think the game is changing to be the relievers are so dominant coming in 100, whether you're lefty or righty. I mean, Josh Hader isn't coming in there pitching to one guy, right? Like most the good relievers, and a lot of them now are really good, are throwing an inning anyway. So I don't think it's as big of a deal as it would have been maybe even 5 years ago.
Or I like this scenario. What about you bring in your closer to get the final out in the bottom of the 9th, and he gets that out to end the game, but he hasn't faced 3 batters yet, so they technically could get 5 outs.
Burgess found a loophole in the rules.
Yeah, man.
Well played.
I'm sure.
How about it continues? He has to start the next game.
Yeah,
That's right.
I like that one too. That'd be interesting.
Tampa Bay
You're
be
gonna
all
get a
over
lot
that.
of faking injuries, though.
Of course,
So that you-
there'll be abuse.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
A lot of blisters.
You mean the managers and pitching coaches will play
Right.
dirty? That doesn't sound right.
Just going out there and break the guy's finger.
I'm sure they.
Get 'em off the
I'm sure
mound.
they ran the numbers to even propose this as a possible rule change. I would just be curious to see them, like how many scenarios, percentage-wise, per game or whatever, is there a relief pitcher that would potentially alter this rule?
Right. Like I think.
Why does it even need to be a thing?
It's like the Yankee Red Sox rule. Like those are the only teams I can think of that do this.
What
That's-
that each
that
game
do-
needs to be 6 hours long?
Yeah. Then and use 3 pitchers in 1 inning.
Yeah.
I don't know, and there's a lot of people, a lot of baseball guys who are pushing back against all these rules and saying like,
Don't
pace
change
of
the
play is
game.
fine, the
Yeah.
game's not
Old-timers.
broken. Yeah,
Which is normally the side I take.
Yeah, that's why I'm shocked.
I know.
I know. I'm shocked actually too. That's why one of the reasons I said I agree with all of them because I thought it would make you mad.
Josh
Which is
draws the line
disappointing
where
for me.
we change the rule to run to third base instead of first base.
Yeah.
too far, too far.
That's too far.
Yeah, but I think any game that's not trying to adapt and evolve and get better is dumb. And I think what these are these proposed changes. All right, so these are ideas, and I like that we're coming up with ideas to make the game better. Or you just become stagnant and you're not trying. Like try to be better.
And as fans, I think we've adjusted and we've learned with watching the NFL that the NFL adjusts their rules every year. And we see them generally improve. All right, next rule is a 20-second pitch count.
I thought they were already doing that, to be honest with you.
It's being done in the minors already.
It's being done in the minors, and they've done it like we've seen the pitch clock at the stadiums, but I
Yeah.
guess they've never enforced it.
Yeah, I don't
So
think they've really.
I don't
enforced
really,
much, but-
I don't really care about that one.
Yeah.
Just for the record, the average pace between pitches by a
Yeah.
pitcher is 24 seconds.
Too long.
Okay,
Shave 4 off there.
so they're gonna have to speed that up.
Yeah, and I think most of that happens though late in the game with relievers. So
Of course.
I wonder if you can I don't know. But I think the good thing about it, the reason I would like it, is because we like more offense. I think that would be more offense because pitchers have less time to kind of get collected, take a breath. You know, you're forcing them to get more of a workout, pitch faster, make more mistakes, presumably leading to more offense.
Well, that's also why, and to keep this with pitchers, it's also why they mentioned that they're looking into lowering the mound. And I think that is about offense, and that the pitchers are getting too dominant, so they're trying to bring offense back by lowering the mound a little bit. That or injuries. I think those are the two things with the lowering of the mound.
These strikeout rates are a little bit crazy now, right? The amount of
all or
strikeouts
nothing.
in games of baseball, it's a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
No longer are pitchers trying to. I remember reading an interview with Adam Archer like 5 years ago, and his whole thing was he wanted the hitter to make contact in the first 2 pitches, and like he rather would have had a single in the first pitch than like a 10-pitch strikeout. Like he would rather guy get just a single first pitch so he can keep his pitch count down and go deeper into the game. But now players don't care about going deeper into the games. They don't care if they throw 12 pitches to one guy. They want to get a strikeout. They don't want to make contact. And I think it makes the game less entertaining when all you have are strikeouts and walks and home runs.
Boring.
And you don't have balls being put in place. Because when you have balls being put in place, you have more exciting defensive plays, just more runners on base, stealing, like just more exciting baseball.
Yeah. Now, these rules, they're proposed for even this season, right? Some of them could be go in effect in 2019.
Yeah, but some of them everyone kind of knows are not realistic.
Right, of course.
Like the 26-man roster or the DH.
Or the
we'll
DH. And that's the next one up is the DH for both leagues.
Yeah, this one gets my...
Get your goat.
Love it. I'm all in.
That's the one where I want the American National League to play by the same rules. I don't know if I like the DH or not, but I totally understand that players love the DH because it adds another roster spot. It prolongs a lot of careers. So I get why the Players Union wants the DH. So if that's what it takes to make the same rules for all teams, especially now with interleague play, then you got to have the DH.
Yes.
I like the DH in both leagues for a couple reasons. The first one being the pitcher that we slobber over for his ability to hit is Madison Bumgarner, right?
Yeah.
He's the guy who, with the Giants, he hits a few home runs. He's got 17 career homers. Good for him. He's a career his on base percentage in his career is .228. He's a 183 hitter, and this is the best of the pitchers. Hitting, right?
Yeah.
It's almost a free out. You get bases loaded, 1 out. You got the pitcher coming up to the plate in the National League. You want more offense, you add the DH.
Yeah.
Right? You don't lower the pitcher's mound to get more offense. You add another hitter into the lineup. I think if you're the Cincinnati Reds, you want to have Jesse Winker in the lineup instead of Anthony DeSclafani. If you're the Dodgers, you want Alex Verdugo instead of Rich Hill or Clayton Kershaw at the plate. I think it's better for the game to have offense where offense should be.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it helps the American League teams recruit pitchers. How many pitchers have left the Orioles and then they're outstanding in the National League? And part of that is because they face a pitcher. And we'll see.
They go through an 8-man lineup.
Right. We'll see pitchers sign in the National League to kind of rebuild their stats before coming to the American League. So, yeah, the DH makes sense. That's all play by the same rules.
Yeah, I don't really. This is like, remember when Houston had that hill in center field?
Mm-hmm.
And and everyone's like, guys, this is a really dumb idea.
I love the hill.
Yeah, but like, it was kind of cool, but we all knew, like, this is not going to last. Someone's going to roll their ankle. Like, this is not going to end well. Right. This is kind of dumb.
Plus, there was a pole in the middle of the hill, too.
The pole was the problem with the hill. Pole.
Yeah, like, everyone acknowledged that this is kind of dumb. And now, looking back, it's kind of fun and silly. I mean, the DH, it's done. I mean, it's going to be a universal DH. Like, this is not even – it's just a matter of when, not if, right?
If not now, you're going to get it at the next bargain agreement.
And in 20 years, we'll think, like, how silly it was that we actually had, guys making $200 million whose job it was to pitch, running around the bases. Like Dylan Bundy, was it last year, 2 years ago when he rolled his ankle going around third base? Like, it's dumb. It makes no sense. It gets all of Ryan Blake's points are true, and it adds more offense, and you get the – I mean, you think about guys like in the National League like Schwarber and Joey Votto who could really use that DH spot.
Use a day off.
Yeah, and they suck defensively or they get old. And it's better for fans, better for owners because their expensive pitchers aren't getting hurt. It just the DH makes so much sense, and it's going to happen.
Yeah,
it makes too much sense.
It's weird that we're still discussing it.
It's dumb that it's still even a debatable thing. I don't even get it.
There's a lot of teams in the National League with good fourth outfielders, which is why I brought up Jesse Winker and Alex Verdugo as my points because they're both on teams that have 3 starting outfielders ahead of them, but they're guys you want in the lineup. They're young, they're talented, they've shown what they can do at this level. And a DH spot puts him in the lineup almost every day.
That's why I've always said the National League has a tremendous advantage in interleague play when they come to the American League ballpark because all of a sudden they have 9 good hitters on their team when they were already a good team with 8.
See, and I took the opposite approach because we have someone in the American League designed to be in that DH spot that we're paying to be, and they don't have a guy.
But they obviously have a guy sitting on the bench every day who could.
Some people have Verdugo, some people don't have
and
Verdugo.
That's
where better numbers than the pitcher.
And that's where we were always penalized when we went to a National League park.
Well, I don't know if we're penalized because our pitchers can't hit their pitchers
right,
can't
but
hit.
we had a guy that we would always count on in our lineup who now can't pitch.
Oh yeah.
Or you have to trot him out and play first base, even though he's not a good first baseman,
Right.
Or put Trumbo in
just
the
to get his
outfield.
bat in the lineup.
Yeah.
All right, another rule is to raise the roster to 26-man, which,
I could take
That's
it or leave
fine.
it. That's sure.
I mean, what's it now, 25?
25.
So you add in one slot.
Doesn't affect me.
Right.
Don't care.
What I am surprised with roster talks is that there was no talk on this having to do with the September call-ups, because I do hate the September call-ups. I wish they would cap that to 26.
Yeah, or the only thing I want is September call-ups is say that day, here are my guys I'm going to use.
Yes,
So you don't have 20 pitchers that you could use.
exactly. Now that 26-man roster limits your
Literally.
pitchers to 12. 12 pitchers.
It's fair. It's like the NFL. You have healthy scratchers every day. I mean, you can bring up some of these guys who are in the minors who might not be playing in September, but set a roster of who you may use that day and keep it limited to 26 or even 30 maybe. But like Matt said, you can't have 20 guys sitting in the bullpen, and then
Yeah.
it just causes a lot of commotion.
Yeah, I don't see an extra player 26. I guess it doesn't matter to me. I don't see players. I don't see teams needing another guy on the bench, another Ryan Flaherty on the bench ready to come in. I don't see the need for that. But if it makes players happy, I guess go
it's
for
definitely
it.
a players thing. Make players happy. All right, how about moving the trade deadline to before the All-Star break and just one single trade deadline? So no non-waivers and all this trade deadlines, just one single trade deadline that's before the All-Star break.
What's the advantage of having it before the All-Star break as opposed to
I think
July 31st?
Like what we saw last year with Manny Machado going to the All-Star game as an Oriole and not knowing if he was going to be in there 2 weeks from then.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think it then
true.
gives those teams in the playoff hunts a little bit more time with their new toy.
It's maybe a 3-month rental instead of 2.
I guess so, but then teams have to decide quicker if they're really going to compete.
and I think-
Because the All-Star game really doesn't fall. Does it fall at the true halfway point of the season?
No, it's a little after.
It's like 83 games or something.
Yeah.
It's close. But I think, I don't know really. I think it's a logistical thing because of how they have multiple trade deadlines that we as fans don't pay attention to. We only pay attention to like whatever the main one is.
The big one.
Yeah. So I think it's just combining all those. All right, I love this one. The draft penalties for too many losing seasons in a row.
I hate this one, but okay, go ahead.
I like this one. I don't know because I don't like tanking. And I think if this is what it takes to get rid of tanking, the NBA tried to solve it with a lottery system. And I don't want lottery coming to Major League Baseball. I don't want getting your number one draft pick have to do with a ping pong ball popping up that says Orioles. So I don't know. I like finding a way to discourage tanking.
I don't think the MLB draft, no MLB team is tanking for the best college baseball player, though.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like
In NBA and football, they're going to come in and play and improve your team dramatically the very next season. Baseball,
Yeah.
that's never going to happen.
yeah,
Aren't we seeing a
you
lot
don't
of
tank
teams-
for draft picks in baseball
No.
So what do you tank for? To save money?
to save money.
Sure.
The fact that you know you're not
So maybe
not
you
going to
come
win.
up with a
Like the
different
Marlins.
penalty.
But I
And
don't
that's-
even think tanking's a problem. You look at this year. Who's tanking? The Orioles are tanking. The Tigers are tanking. Maybe the Rangers are tanking. The Marlins are they tank every year. They're always tanking. And that's I named 4. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
All the other teams are kind of competitive or trying to be competitive. So it's not like half the league is tanking.
I'd like
4 teams.
And it's implying too many losing seasons. Like you've been tanking for multiple years. Like there's an 8th grader out there that you really want, but we need to tank the next 5 years so that we can get him when
no,
he's
it's-
eligible for the draft.
it's to discourage teams from copying the Astros, which lose 5 straight years, so they get the number 1 draft pick for 5 and then bring them all up together.
Yeah, well,
It's trying to avoid that.
but what have we seen happen?
When is that ever going to happen?
What have we seen
though?
happen with the Phillies and the Braves
Yeah, it
and the
doesn't
Yankees
work.
a couple years ago? But no, they always go faster than they think they're going to go.
Yes.
So that the losing seasons they think or maybe it'll be 5 end up being just like 2 or 3
You know what?
losing seasons.
What I'd like to do,
It's not like teams are losing for 10 years straight unless you're the Orioles and you're trying to win actually.
rather than, I'd like to see some type of penalty on if you're making a certain amount of money in revenue and not spending a certain amount of money. I'd like to see that type of penalty rather than what your on-field product is.
Josh, you have
That
to
sounds
look
like
at,
communism.
Yes, it is. You have to look at every rule through how does this affect the Orioles.
Exactly.
And so you want rules that helps small market teams, that don't punish teams for not spending money.
Yeah, this is totally to help like Yankees and stuff get draft pick, keep them good.
Exactly.
I totally get that.
Exactly. Like the Yankees aren't going to have losing seasons, so they're going to punish small market teams like the Marlins and the Orioles who have to tank to get good again. Like the Yankees can just replenish. The Orioles aren't in a position financially where they can do that, so you have to have some down years. And so I feel like this rule punishes small market teams and helps big market teams. And that's how I look through every kind of, when you talk about organizational changes or like changes in the rules of drafts and stuff, how does it help big market compared to small market teams to make sure, like, this is what baseball needs to have small market teams compete year in and year out with the big market teams. And the luxury tax has actually done a really good job of this, right? Because teams hate to go over the luxury tax because owners got really greedy and care more about money than winning recently, which is great for the Orioles. But so that's why I don't like that rule.
I'm with Matt on this one, and I think, Matt, another reason that I think you dislike this rule is because if the Orioles had been penalized for losing so many seasons in a row, they might not have had the 4th overall pick when they took your favorite player, Brian Matusz.
Yeah. It's true.
That's my only point on that topic.
Yeah. Well, and actually the Orioles probably would have been better off having a later pick and not picking Brian Matusz. But
Probably.
Major League Baseball did make one change they announced this week. The disabled list is now called
Disabled.
The disabled list is now called the injured list.
Here's the quote from Major League Baseball.
I want to hear this explanation.
It says, the principal concern, this is a quote from Major League Baseball, the principal concern is that using the term, quote, disabled for players who are injured supports the misconception that people with disabilities are injured and therefore are not able to participate or compete in sports. As a result, Major League Baseball has agreed to change the name disabled list to the injured list at both the major and minor league levels. All standards and requirements for placement, reinstatement, etc. shall remain unchanged. This change, which is only a rebranding of the name itself, is effective immediately.
Did they kind of just see the way culture's going and were afraid of a lawsuit?
Was there like a commission of disabled people who found it offensive every time someone said DL?
I don't know,
but now we got to talk about the IL. Who's on the IL this week?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm still calling it the DL. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what Rule 5 guy for the Orioles is now on the IL instead of the DL. But what I want to know is, I don't think this has gone far enough into society. Like my wife, who is ready to give birth at literally any second, she has to take disability to when she has the baby, right? Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden she's disabled, right, after she has the baby for a period of time. And I fill out a form for long-term disability just in case myself as well. But she should, in the hospitals, she should fill out not a disability form.
Injured.
Yeah, an injured form. Mm-hmm. She should take injured leave, not disability leave.
It's all about inclusiveness.
That's right.
It's just a word, though. It like you're either able or what's the opposite of able? Disable.
Yeah, and when you're in disabled list, you're temporarily disabled from performing this task.
Right. Yes.
Which
so
I think
you were
makes sense to me.
not able to play baseball.
Right. Yeah, it was the disabled to play.
But like Josh said, we're just conforming to the culture that it is what it is nowadays.
That's true. I can't wait till I'm dead.
Because don't a lot about death. Because disability.
I'm coming, Frank.
Because the term disability can mean a couple of different things, right?
Sure.
So I think they're trying to be a little more clear with the terminology. I don't really care. And you know what? And I'm still calling RBIs.
Yes.
Too, just for the record.
Not RBI.
Not RBI. But it's runs batted in. It's not run batted ins. I don't care. RBIs.
RBIs, baby.
All right. Well, that's the proposed rule and the one change from Major League Baseball. We do have one more change, I think, coming to the Orioles. Hasn't been officially announced.
Yeah.
But it's been kind of reported, but not really reported.
Well, are you calling Rich Dubroff a non-reporter? I think last I checked, Rich Dubroff, friend of the show? Last I checked.
Friend of anybody?
Last I checked, he is a reporter, and Rich Dubroff has reported this.
Yeah, BaltimoreBaseball.com.
Yeah.
That's where he's right now. So he reported that Joe Angel is retiring and will not be calling this upcoming season.
Yeah. This hits at my heartstrings a little bit because, I mean, I'm a radio first kind of guy. I'm a radio baseball guy.
You want to hear a little Joe?
Sure. Let's do a couple of Joe Angel calls. I'm a big fan.
He delivers to Ramirez, who swings and he lines it over Machado, and that's a base hit. That ball is heading for the corner. Now Matuk is heading for third. He's going to be waved in. Here's the Machado relay, the tag. They got him! They got him! They got him! They got him at the plate! And that's how the ball game ends. The Machado relay, they got him at the plate. And the Orioles in the win column.
That's a good one.
That's my favorite Joe Angel call.
Yeah, no, that's a great one, and it's a lot different than what we heard with the Frank Robinson call. Here's another because the things that we think of with Joe Angel is another one in the win column, and then his home run calls. So here's a Mark.
So let's see if Trumbo can jumbo for a win here. Fly ball, left field, right back there, way back there, way back there, bye-bye. A Trumbo jumbo has won it on opening day in the 11th inning, and the Orioles in the win column. Well, Trumbo is at home plate, and he is being mobbed.
All right.
No pie though.
Trumbo's fun sometimes.
That's the two Joe Angel clips.
All right.
I'm not sure if you're staring at me like you wanted more.
I know. I thought you would have also the one when we won the AL East pennant, but you don't know the AL East pennant call. That's fine. I don't care. Fine.
I'll find it for you.
No, don't forget about it. No, I don't care. But no, I love Joe Angel. I loved the Joe Angel Fred Manfra kind of going back and forth. It's a little, but now Fred Manfra retired last year.
Yeah.
Now, apparently Joe Angel this year. It's weird that no one else though is reporting it. The Orioles haven't announced it. I was reading the Rich Duboff article, and it says like he reached out to Joe Angel and he reached out to the Orioles,
right,
and neither of them would comment on it. But according to an industry source, Rich Duboff is running with it. I saw some people tweet at Rakubako, and Rakubako saying, you know,
one
he
ball
doesn't
and
feel
two
comfortable.
strikes. Now the burly right-hander Tommy Hunter out there trying to send the Orioles into the postseason. Goins back in. Hunter takes a look. Still looking. Now he says yes. And now he's ready. And he delivers. Goins, ground ball, first base. Pierce got it. He will run over. He will take the out himself. And I'll be darned. The Orioles have done it. They have done it. It took 17 years. But on this Tuesday night, September 16th, 2014, the Orioles are back in the Eastern Division win column. They are the champions. And they do it with their 91st win. Champagne for everybody.
Yeah, that's another great call, right?
91
Best nights of my life.
91 wins at September 16th. That's insane.
Yeah, we won't see that for a while.
No.
Yeah, and
Remember, we had tickets for the very next night. I was hoping they'd lose that night so we could be.
Well, there we
Ubaldo
go.
was starting that night, so I went to that game and I wasn't confident because I was like, well,
Ubaldo, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, the next game was kind of a dud. Can't really build upon the
Not
night
as
before.
memorable, yeah,
No.
as the night before.
And then a week after that, Evan Meek grooved a fastball to Derek Jeter to send him off into the sunset.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Orioles can't have the glory for too long.
So it'll be interesting to see who replaces Joe Angel, and do you think that Joe Angel retiring and time in of deciding not to come back this year has anything to do with the fact that the team's not going to be very fun to call this year?
Oh sure. I mean, he's 70.
He's like, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
I can't do this for another 14 years.
He's 71. I was looking at his Wikipedia page. It's kind of crazy. You forget, I don't know, like how much people have lived and experienced. He started in the 1970s with the Giants as a broadcaster. I didn't know this about Joe Angel. He was with the Marlins when they won the World Series in '97. He called the Marlins winning the World Series in 1997. I didn't realize
Pull
that
the audio.
Yeah. I looked for it. The
really?
audio because it says on his Wikipedia page, it says his most famous call was Game 7 of the '97 World Series as Edgar Renteria singled off Charles Nagy. He quote, I guess Angel said, "A 5-year-old child has become king."
Oh man!
And I was looking for that audio everywhere, and I couldn't find it.
That's a sports announcer's dream to make up a phrase like that.
Yeah. Other fun facts about Joe Angel, since I'm on his Wikipedia page right now, it says Angel's son Jonathan was one of the stars of the teen sitcom Saved by the Bell, The New Class.
Oh, I liked The New Class.
Yeah,
It didn't last very long.
Though I think stars is saying a bit too much. I think he was just one of the recurring roles guys. I don't think he was actually.
He was just in it.
He wasn't he wasn't Zach Morris.
And
So-
that's all. Only Screech was the only character that carried
In the new
over. Oh, and
class.
Belding.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch the New Class. Is that when New Class isn't when they went to college? That was a different
that was
one.
the college years.
Yes.
Did New Class come before or after the college years?
Many years after, I think.
Oh, this is a recent reboot of it.
Like a New Class was when they tried to say, "Hey, let's reboot it."
He was a regular character in the first 3 seasons. Jonathan Angel
I think there were only 3 seasons.
played Tommy D.
I'm shocked that there were 3 seasons
There were 7.
of the New Class.
Yep.
Okay. I clearly didn't watch the New Class.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, Joe Angel. So his replacement? I don't know.
I mean,
I really like listening to games on the radio.
right.
And
So-
usually they get good guys to do it, right? Like Joe Angel is great.
Ben McDonald's the guy who everyone praises when he fills in.
Yeah, but the problem is
but he's not he's more of like the second guy.
the color
right?
analyst guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what. And I also love my favorite. Ben McDonald's is my second favorite color analyst. My favorite is Dave Johnson. But none of those guys have like taken the lead role like
Right.
And
And you want someone with neither of those guys have like passion and excitement. Like, and you want someone that has like that whole like the excitement of calling the Trumbo Jumbo. Like Ben McDonald can't do that call.
Yeah, I know, and I know Jim Hunter has done it before, and he has the excitement, but I just don't like him. I don't know exactly why. Like one of the things I liked about Joe Angel is Joe Angel was like funny, and he was witty, and he like his banter with Fred Manfred was like my favorite, and Jim Hunter's not witty or funny, and I don't know. I'm really picky when it comes to my radio announcers for baseball. I don't care about people all cry all the time about NFL analysts and whatever. I don't care less who's calling an NFL game because I got it right there on the screen to watch. But like a baseball game when I'm relying everything on the voices,
And-
like it matters. And Jim
Yeah.
Hunter's not going to cut it for me.
No, and baseball on the radio is important. It's all as we all grew up with falling asleep to the radio.
I still
I was
do.
gonna say,
West Coast
we
trips.
still
I fall
do it.
asleep
We
every
still
West
do
Coast
it.
trip to the radio.
But it's such a childhood thing of listening to baseball on the radio that it's just
yes.
it's something we still do as adults. So it is something picky.
John
and
Miller in my radio all growing up. Yeah.
I know if I'll put on like a Nats game when I'm in DC, I don't like their announcers.
Yeah.
So that makes me. That's where like we've had good announcers in Baltimore, and hopefully that continues because I don't want to listen to someone that's tough to listen to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't care if Jim
They'll get a
Hunter's
pro.
I don't care if Jim Hunter's on TV. Like, do TV. I don't care. I don't care about announcers on TV, but radio,
Yes.
I need that voice.
You need to paint that picture, and you need to.
You need to be my friend on there too.
Right.
You're gonna be sleeping next to me at night. I need your comforting voice. I need you to be my friend, someone who I can connect with on a personal level.
A real solid big spoon, if you will.
Absolutely. I felt like I saw a couple of times. You just around the stadium, you saw Joe Angel walk by. Like
Yeah.
I felt like, hey, that was my friend walking by. Sup, Joe? And he gave me a weird look and walked a little faster. That's fine. But I felt like I had to connect. I never will feel that connection with Jim Hunter.
Nah.
I could show up. I'd sit next to him at his Catholic church, and I would not feel that connection.
Sure.
He posts a lot of Catholic tweets.
I follow you. I understand what you're talking about.
I have a different relationship with Jim Hunter in that when I was a little kid, for the longest time, I wanted to be the next voice of the Orioles. I wanted to be a TV broadcaster.
Yeah.
I wanted to have Jim Hunter's job.
Yeah, I would fall asleep with your voice in my ear.
Well, I don't know if I would, but I appreciate that. No, so I was down at spring training with my dad and my grandfather, and we were outside after one of the games just waiting for autographs because that's a good time to get them at spring training.
Yeah.
And Jim Hunter came out of the tunnel and walked through all the crowd of fans, and no one seemed to really know who he was. And I was this little, 8-9-year-old kid, and I had a little just a little flip book of papers that I was getting signed, and I said, "Mr. Hunter, could you sign my book for me?" And he pulled out of his briefcase a picture of him with WVAL with the field behind him, and holding a microphone, and he signed it to Ryan Best Wishes, Jim Hunter, and I still have that photo.
Oh, wow.
And for that reason, I'll always have a soft spot for Jim Hunter. But as I've gotten older, as a broadcaster, he, like you guys have been saying, he doesn't really do it for me anymore, which is a shame because I think he's a great guy.
He's a good hype man. I like when he gets out on opening day with the bow tie and he introduces everybody. He's an MC, but it's a different beast from being a radio announcer,
Right. No,
play-by-play guy.
Matt, could you start going to Oriole games with pictures of yourself in your backpack? So if someone comes up and asks for an autograph, you can pull out a picture?
I think this is a perfect opportunity for a couple guys in their mid-30s who podcast in a basement to get a promotion.
Right.
I'll go for the social media job. You guys go for the radio job.
Right.
You could be my writer.
It's just going to take all three of us to get through a game.
Oh, yeah, and I'm leaving in the third inning every night.
I'll be the next Mighty Casey, just passing you notes. Here's your next joke, Bert.
Yeah. It was Fred and Joe Angel always had the cool nicknames for the sound guys.
They had Casey. They had Tiny Tim Jones.
Casey
right.
at the bat, the mighty Casey, Tiny Tim. Yep.
Yeah. I was looking at our comments on Facebook. I only see 5 here. I lost all the ones that were commented before.
It was pretty lit. I can go back to the beginning. Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
Because there's been like 10 different questions for Ryan.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And if he can just respond to one of them.
Yeah, bring
not
it on.
all
I
of
haven't-
them.
I haven't had
You
any
can
of this in
scroll.
front of
That's
me.
for the top.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw out some questions. You just respond to one of them, all right?
Cool.
Oh, this is the top.
That's the top. Yeah, you're
All
going
right.
down
Rapid
there.
fire thing, or we just pick it
Pew,
up?
pew, pew.
No, because I think all these might be a little bit long. A lot of them are from your boy Tommy Kyle. I assume he's your boy. He's throwing a lot of questions at you. So this question: is it true that Nick Swisher caught you in Oriole Park after you called him out on Twitter?
I need to tell the story now.
All right, tell it.
All right.
I've heard this. I like this.
This is one for the grandkids. So I was on the tarp crew. I think a lot of people know this. Some may not. I was on the Orioles tarp crew in 2012. It was a super fun year for me. It was the first time the Orioles were ever good in my life that I could remember. And my Twitter picture was me in my tarp crew uniform leaning up against the outfield fence before a game. One of my friend's moms had taken the picture and sent it to me, so I used it as my little avatar. And the Yankees were in town, and the grounds crew sits in the cage out in right field.
Yeah.
And Swisher was the Yankees' right fielder, and he was up to his usual antics, where he's boisterous and having fun. Which, if he wasn't a Yankee, I wouldn't care. I would enjoy it. I like that kind of personality.
But he's
in
a
baseball,
Yankee.
But because he
He
was
is a Yankee. Yeah.
I didn't like him.
Hate that crap.
Yeah. So the Yankees ended up winning one night, and the
sounds
team
about
was still
right.
in Baltimore, and he tweeted something about big win. It was nice to have a bunch of Yankees fans out at Camden Yards, and I responded verbatim, "Shut up! No one likes you. You're a douche." Okay.
That sounds about right. Yeah, that's a good response.
That was just me.
Got him.
Stupid
Got him.
17-year-old kid.
I love it.
So I call Nick Swisher a douche on Twitter, and
Yeah.
No one likes you.
Yeah.
and I hit send on the tweet, and
I want to put that in your application for the social media job.
I probably wouldn't get it if I knew about that.
Yeah.
So where was I? So I hit send on the tweet because back then I tweeted a bunch of nonsense and I didn't think of it. So
Yeah,
I hit
careful. A
send.
lot of 17-year-olds get in trouble later in life for
Yeah.
things they tweeted when they
Yeah,
were
you might
17.
want to go
Right.
delete some of that.
Yeah, but, I should look back and see. But so I don't think anything of it after that. And I get to work the next day, and there's a couple of the full-time guys are sitting there just kind of snickering a little bit, and I don't know what's going on. And Nicole, who's the head groundskeeper, walks over towards me as I'm about to cut into the locker room, and she says, "Hey Ryan, get dressed real quick. There's someone in my office who wants to talk to you."
Uh-oh.
And I wasn't thinking about the tweet. I didn't know what
Right,
was going on.
why would
I thought
you?
maybe I won a prize or something.
A nice prize.
So I get dressed real quick, and there's people who know what's going on, but aren't telling me, so they're laughing a little bit. And I walk over, and Nicole walks me into her office, and I see a guy sitting there with his head down, and on the desk there's a glove and a Yankees cap. And I didn't recognize the guy. Like I said, he had his head down. I walk in, he picks his head up, and my first thought was, "Oh, that's Nick Swisher." And then I remembered the tweet, and my next thought was, "Oh no, that's Nick Swisher." So he sat in there and chewed me out for about 10 minutes, just complaining about how he's a human being with feelings too, and all
Oh
that
my
stuff, and
gosh.
how,
Wow.
there was no reason for me to say something like that. And I was
Wow.
like, and I was proud of myself because I stood up a little bit, and I said, you're right, I shouldn't have sent the tweet. I apologize, but you're a Yankee, I'm an Orioles fan, and your attitude has just been annoying to me since you've been a major leaguer, and it's nothing personal. It's just my disdain for the Yankees, and because you're wearing the pinstripes, it falls on you. And I was like, you're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it. It was a 17-year-old thing to do, but did you have to try to come intimidate me like this? But anyway, that's the whole story.
Oh
I
my
walked out of
gosh.
the office and everyone busted out laughing at me, and then Nicole took me back in, just the two of us, and said, "You're lucky I don't fire you over this. You really got to watch what you say. No tweeting at athletes." And I was like, all right, I get it. And they didn't bring me back the next year, and that's probably why.
Oh.
That's crazy. That's like every, though, kind of athlete's dream to be able to talk to the person who just tweets at them.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And to actually call them out in person. I kind of like Nick Swisher more after hearing that story. That's great.
That's like when Jay and Silent Bob traveled across the country and knocked on the doors of everyone who gave their movie a bad review.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect it at all, but it's like I said, it's a story for the grandkids.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's a great story. All right, now there's several more questions. So now the bar said hi. Here's another from your boy Tommy. He said, quick question. Is it true that you got a Jim Johnson baseball with a piece of gum on it?
That is true, and that was the night I met Tommy Kyle. This was the 2011. It was September, and I had a couple friends who had just been hired for the grounds crew to replace kids who were going away to college or whatever.
Right, or
And,
who were tweeting at players and then got fired.
Yeah. So I was at a game with a friend, and I don't remember if it was Tommy or our other friend Kyle Andrews, who you probably know. He
Yeah.
does a bunch of writing for Fox. And
Yeah, he's been on the show.
He's been here.
Fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great guy. We've been friends since my freshman year of high school. But Kyle and Tommy Kyle were both on the crew, and my buddy and I went over to the bullpen after the game, and they used to do this thing where every time they would score a run, they would add a baseball to this little pile in the bullpen, and they would just kick them away or whatever. Jim Johnson at one point had walked over, taken his gum, and sat it on top of a baseball. I don't know why I wanted this baseball, but I asked either Tommy or Kyle to get it for me, and they did, and I took home a baseball that had a big wad of Jim Johnson's gum just plopped on the top of it. I do not have that one anymore, but I do have a baseball that
Is
You
that
don't have the baseball,
Right.
but you still have the gum, right?
Did you
Right.
chew the gum?
I chewed the gum, conservation. But I do have a baseball that Darren O'Day drew a phallic symbol on. I do still have that one.
Yeah, you can't get rid of that one.
No.
Nice. Here's a question from Scott Magnus. He says, when am I getting my $20 back, Balake?
I thought I paid him back.
Well, apparently he doesn't think you paid him back.
Maybe I didn't. I don't know. He bought me a Boog's barbecue sandwich at a game one night because I tweeted that I had left my wallet in the car. So
Oh, that
Scott
was nice.
Alright.
Scott was nice enough to
Yeah.
buy me a Boog sandwich. And
I know
apparently
what-
I still owe him that money.
And I know what I'm tweeting on opening day.
I left my
I
wallet
left
in the
my
car.
wallet in the
Someone
Yeah.
buy me a Boog sandwich.
sorry.
Thanks, Scott.
We did Ryan Blake as a guest all wrong. We should have just started with all. Here's another one from Kyle
Yeah,
Andrews.
you normally intro the guest at the top and asking questions about his rights.
I didn't realize that he had all these interesting stories. Here's one from Kyle. Ryan, Kyle Andrews, who we were just talking about. Ryan, tell the Mark Hendrickson story. You have a story about Mark Hendrickson?
Oh, this has nothing to do with me. It has to do with Kyle. So this was also a grounds crew thing, and I don't know if it was when I was working there, or if it was, like I said, the September before when he was. But he was coming back through the catwalk in center field, and there was a baseball sitting in there, and he was trying to get it back to the bullpen. So from what I remember, Kyle picked up this baseball, and instead of like giving it to a fan or whatever, he chucked it back toward the bullpen, and it came within about 2 inches of taking Mark Hendrickson's head off. And Hendricks, reacted as you would when a baseball
Right.
whizzes by your head.
Right.
And,
Probably like Nick Swisher reacted when he saw your tweet. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What is this kid? So I don't know what that was. So Kyle threw a baseball and almost hit Mark Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Too bad. Probably could have helped out the Orioles if he did.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's our. There's some more questions on there. I'm not going to touch.
Those grounds crew days were fun. Will they still be on the Facebook video afterwards?
Yeah.
I might respond to them.
Yeah, you can go ahead and respond.
Yeah, they're
to
still
that.
on there.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a fast show. Covered a lot of ground.
It's a great show because now it's spring training.
Yeah.
It was a heavy news week. A lot of ground to cover.
Baseball talk.
Yep. In the future, we'll get into more specific player talk, which I'm excited about
Hey,
for the Orioles.
quick congrats to 336 Jacob Rock who joined the Army this week.
Oh, well done, Jacob. That's cool, man.
Congrats, bud.
Very
Fuck
cool.
Jacob.
All right, boys and girls, thanks for listening. Write us a review on iTunes. Subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. You should follow Ryan Blake on Twitter. Ryan Blake, what are your Twitter handles?
I would certainly appreciate that. My personal is at RyGuyBlake, and my Orioles account, which just hit 8,700 followers. I'm
Heyo.
excited about that. Is at Orioles fan Rob with a Z because I was 17 with that account. And I thought a Z was cooler than an S.
Yeah, Is that what after you got called out by Nick Swisher, did you say, okay, I got to start a different account without my name on it so I can start tweeting how I really feel?
You know, I think I made the account before the season started, before I even got the job on the ground. So it was February of 2012 that I made that account.
But the Nick Swisher tweet was from Rye Guy Blake,
That was
not
from
from
my
Oriole
personal,
Fan Problems.
right.
Yeah.
That's how he found you.
Right. That's how you should have played it off. It was a mistake. I tweeted from the wrong
Yeah.
account.
I always go with the hack. Like your phone was
yeah, I
hacked.
got hacked.
Got hacked. Yeah. Anyway, you can follow me where my Twitter gets hacked occasionally at Section336. You can follow Bert on Twitter.
At Bert Rohde.
You can follow Josh on Twitter.
At Josh Roca.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go O's.
Thank you for listening to the Section 336 podcast. Please go to iTunes and Facebook for all complaints or the occasional compliment. If I were you, I would not take any baseball advice from these guys. Josh and Matt were raised by an Orioles-obsessed father, and Bert fell in love with Don Mattingly. He has a thing for mustaches.
I like this guy, Tommy Kyle.
I was
All-
nervous for his questions.